Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a whole stack of information, news reports, personal accounts, and trying to, well, distill it into something clear and insightful for you. We're digging into something really complex and very timely. Nigeria's place in the world right now. We're talking diplomacy, visa rules affecting Nigerians, and also some rising tensions, particularly with Ghana. It's a really vivid example of how international relations, economics, and, feelings on the ground all get tangled up.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we've got a mix of sources. We're looking at news reports like from Arise News and Channels Television, covering the official side, the diplomatic moves. But, and this is crucial, we've also gone through direct accounts, social media discussions from both Ghanaians and Nigerians. This gives us a much more, let's say, multifaceted and sometimes pretty raw perspective.
Right. So our mission today is really to unpack the nuances behind all these headlines you might be seeing. We want to clarify the different viewpoints from our sources and explore what this actually means practically for Nigerians at home and, well, those living abroad too. Getting to the why. Okay, let's explore this then as we get into these dynamics. What really stands out to you first about the challenges and maybe the opportunities to facing Nigeria globally right now?
Well, the first thing that really jumps out from the sources is this very deliberate push by Nigeria to kind of redefine its global partnerships. Moving beyond just the traditional allies, it looks like a clear strategic pivot, trying to assert more influence, leverage its size, its economy.
That's a great place to start. And President Tinubu has been pretty active, hasn't he? Arise News covered his recent diplomatic tour, included a stop in St. Lucia in the Caribbean. Nigeria set up formal diplomatic ties there. And interestingly, Tinubu called for visa waivers for officials from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, promising Nigeria would do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And it wasn't just a quick hello. He actually received St. Lucia's highest national honor. That signals something, doesn't it? A warmer relationship being built.
It certainly does. And then straight from the Caribbean, he was off to Brazil for the 17th BRICS summit in Rio.
Right, BRICS. And that summit, like you said, it really feels symbolic of a shift in, well, global power dynamics. BRICS started with 5 countries, but now it's expanded. You've got Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt joining, and now Nigeria is in this new tier of partner nations.
Yeah, it's a significant expansion.
And when you add up this whole expanded group, it's nearly half the world's population, maybe a quarter of the global GDP. Huge numbers.
Massive.
The summit also happened with, rising global tensions in the background. China's Xi Jinping wasn't there in person, nor was Russia's Vladimir Putin, though Putin attended virtually because of that ICC warrant, which limits his travel.
Right, the context matters. And Nigeria joining this expanded group, even as a partner nation, it's strategic. Brazil's President Lula, he framed it as the global south, pushing back against what he called the collapse of multilateralism and Western dominance. President Tinubu seemed to echo that. He called for changes to global financial and health systems. And he made a strong point about Africa suffering disproportionately from climate change, even though it contributes very little to emissions.
That's a key point for many African nations.
Definitely. And Tinubu also pushed for stronger ties, specifically with Brazil agriculture, energy, mining, aviation. He even mentioned working together to tackle foot and mouth disease in Nigeria. It shows a real intent for more South-South cooperation, diversifying away from just traditional partners.
So you see this proactive effort on the global stage. But interestingly, there's also this counter-narrative coming from within Nigeria itself about its standing. The African Democratic Congress, which is a new opposition alliance, they openly criticized President Tinubu not being invited to a recent U.S.-African summit in Washington.
Ah, yes, that caused a stir.
Their publicity secretary called it a damning international indictment of Nigeria's economy and foreign policy. Said it would have been unthinkable just a few years ago for Nigeria to miss that kind of meeting.
It does raise that question about perception versus reality, doesn't it? How is Nigeria actually seen? Some commentators, like Curtis Adwa, tried to explain the U.S. move. He linked it to Trump's America First idea. Adwa suggested the U.S. might see Nigeria engaging with BRICS as going against American interests, hence the non-invitation.
So a kind of geopolitical consequence.
Possibly. And Professor Chukwudi Odo added another layer. He stressed that Nigeria needs to be, quote, globally competitive. It needs leverage beyond just oil and human resources to really hold its own in these big international blocs.
It's not just about showing up. It's about what you bring.
Exactly. What value you offer.
Okay. And speaking of how Nigeria is perceived and treated internationally, let's talk about these visa policy shifts. It feels like things are getting stricter for Nigerians wanting to travel. We've seen the US, the UK, the UAE, Canada all bringing in new requirements. And it sparked this whole debate. Are Nigerians being unfairly singled out?
It's a major point of discussion.
Take the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria. They announced updates for non-immigrant visas. And one specific detail really caught my eye. Starting July 15, 2025, Nigerian students applying for study or exchange programs will need to make their social media accounts public for screening.
Wow, that's quite a step. And it's not just the US. The UK is moving to digital visas for work or study, getting rid of the physical stickers. That also starts July 15, 2025. But the UAE rules, as Professor Odo highlighted, seem particularly tough.
Tell us about those.
Okay, so according to the sources, the UAE has apparently abolished transit visas for Nigerians. They've imposed a 3-month single-entry visa. People aged 18 to 45 have to travel with a group. And maybe the biggest one, applicants 45 and older need a mandatory bank balance of $10,000.
$10,000. That's a massive barrier for most people.
Huge, absolutely. These are significant hurdles.
So this tightening, this pattern across different countries,
Yeah.
what's driving it? Is it really about specific incidents or behaviors attributed to Nigerians? Or is it part of these bigger geopolitical shifts? Is it, as some people are asking, a kind of gang up?
Well, Professor Odo offers a few angles on this. First, he points to the basic principle. Every country in the world has a right to choose how you come into their country. Sovereignty, essentially.
Okay, fair enough.
He does acknowledge the view that, quote, the behavior of Nigerians is also important. He mentions instances where people might overstay visas, even transit ones.
Right, the issue of visa violations.
But importantly, he pushes back, too. He argues Nigerians are not worse than any other persons traveling. And he brings up the America First approach under Trump again, saying it affected many countries, not just Nigeria. So it's not necessarily targeted only at Nigerians in that view.
So a mix of factors.
Seems so. And it brings us back to that concept of reciprocity in international law. You mentioned it earlier. The Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the U.S. decision surprising, unfair, misaligned, not in the spirit of partnership. They said talks are ongoing to reverse it.
Understandable reaction.
But Professor Odo's take was, well, maybe it shouldn't have been that surprising. He saw it as fitting the trajectory of recent American policy. And then you look at a country like the UAE, he argues they operate strictly for business. They want people who add value to their economy.
And the reciprocity argument there.
His point is, Nigeria doesn't have much leverage in terms of reciprocity with the UAE because relatively few UAE citizens travel to Nigeria compared to the large number of Nigerians going the other way. So Nigeria has no scores against them in that sense.
Ah, I see. It's an imbalance.
Exactly. So it's this complex mix. National sovereignty, perceptions of behavior, economic interests, and diplomatic leverage or lack thereof.
Okay, that really lays out a global picture. But let's shift focus closer to home now, within Africa, because tensions seem to be really bubbling up, especially between Ghana and Nigeria. We're hearing about this Nigeria must go trend.
Yes, that's been prominent in the sources we looked at.
And it seems like it was really ignited, or at least flared up significantly, because of a specific incident involving an Igbo king's agenda in Ghana.
That appears to be the immediate trigger, yes. The core issue, as reported in the sources, was an alleged attempt by an Igbo king in Ghana to acquire 50 acres of land. The stated purpose was, quoting the sources, to use it and be a community that will represent like our roots, our culture, and teach our language, and also name the community after our ancestors.
Okay, trying to establish a cultural center or community.
But from the Ghanaian perspective presented in the sources, this was seen very differently. They considered it not allowed in Ghana's culture. There were open protests, calls for the king and his sub-chiefs to be deported. It was interpreted as trying to set up a separate kind of territory within Ghana, which understandably caused a strong reaction.
It sounds like it hit a nerve, definitely. And the sources suggest this goes deeper than just the land issue. There seem to be underlying grievances from the Ghanaian side.
Very much so.
We found accusations reported in the sources that some Nigerians are perceived as coming to spoil their youth through things like Sakawa, Yahoo, and Asha. These are terms for internet scams and fraud.
Right, financial crimes.
There's this expressed frustration about Ghanaians being tired of too many things Nigerians are doing there, and even attributing a high crime rate to Nigerians living in the country.
These are serious accusations.
Extremely.
Yeah.
And the language used in some accounts is really stark. Calls to drive them out, descriptions of Nigerians as a virus to our land to destroy the country and go back. Comparisons were even drawn to situations in South Africa.
Right.
One sentiment captured was particularly broad. If you go to Congo, they are not comfortable with Nigerians. If you go to Zimbabwe and Zambia, they are not comfortable with the Nigerians. In fact, even Ghana have a problem with Nigerians.
Yeah.
There's a general trait that Nigerians have. There's a necessary aggression that other people don't find comfortable.
Wow. That's an incredibly strong language. It points to a much wider perception issue, at least from that perspective.
It really does. It makes you think about how these narratives build up.
Indeed. But it's vital we also look at the Nigerian responses from the sources, which are quite varied. It's not monolithic. Interestingly, there's internal debate among Nigerians themselves. Some were advising their compatriots in Ghana not to play victim card if they face backlash, arguing that in relation to the Igbo King incident, Nigerians are the cause of it. So some internal criticism.
Yes. And pleas from some Nigerians for fellow Nigerians in Ghana to simply respect their law and also go by their rules. A call for better integration, essentially.
But that's not the only response.
No, definitely not. On the other side, you have threats reported from some Nigerians, warnings that if Nigerian businesses in Ghana are harmed, they will retaliate against Ghanaian businesses back in Nigeria. One quote was direct. We are going to do the same thing to them.
That sounds like a dangerous escalation.
It highlights the potential for things to spiral and the different factions within the Nigerian community responding to the situation.
Amidst all this heat, were there calls for calm?
Yes, thankfully. Some Nigerian voices in the sources explicitly urged peace. They advised Ghanaians to stick to peaceful protest and warned against attacking any Nigerians, stressing that innocent people on both sides could get hurt.
A focus on avoiding collective punishment.
Precisely. There were specific pleas to protect Nigerians who are doing legal business, paying taxes, contributing positively, and urging authorities to handle those constituting nuisance properly, rather than allowing vigilantism or broad attacks.
So they're trying to differentiate between law-abiding residents and those causing problems.
Exactly. What really comes through is this sense of accumulated anger that some Ghanaians feel, according to the sources, a feeling perhaps that their previous calmness was mistaken for timidity. And as we noted, it's quite striking to see that internal criticism among Nigerians about some of their own fellow Nigerians, seen as causing problems abroad by not respecting local rules. It points to a real self-reflection happening within the community about national image and individual responsibility.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. The global stage, the visa issues, the regional tensions. What does this all mean when you boil it down?
Well, I think this deep dive really highlights a dual challenge for Nigeria. On one hand, it's trying hard to assert itself globally, build new alliances like with BRICS, navigate these big geopolitical shifts. It's playing the strategic game. But on the other hand, it's also grappling with the very real, very complex consequences of how its citizens behave and integrate, or sometimes don't, in other countries, especially nearby in Africa.
So the macro and the micro are deeply connected.
Absolutely. It shows that international relations isn't just about governments and diplomats. Individual actions, community perceptions, they have a huge impact on national reputation and can spark serious friction across borders. It's about policies, yes, but also very much about people.
We've definitely seen that today, how sovereignty dictates who gets in, how diplomatic chess moves affect economies, and how the actions of maybe just a few people can create these powerful waves of sentiment, sometimes very negative sentiment, across borders. It leaves you with a pretty big question, doesn't it? In our world, which is more connected than ever, where does the main responsibility lie for building that mutual respect and understanding between people from different nations? Is it mostly on governments? Is it on communities? Or does it really come down to each individual person stepping onto foreign soil, knowing they carry a piece of their nation's reputation with them? Something to think about.
If Ghana start attacking Nigerians in Ghana, nobody should cry about it. No Nigerian should play victim card. If anything should happen to Nigerians in Ghana, Nigerians are the cause of it. Because recently, because of the King Igbo saga in Ghana, some Nigerians are trying to take advantage of that to make Ghana people hate Igbo. And they forget about the implication of what they are doing. Because one thing a lot of people that are doing this nonsense did not understand is if Ghana provoke today and decide to attack people, they will not go for only Igbo people. They will go for all Nigerians. Before, the hashtag they are using is Igbo must go. But recently, what are they using? Nigeria must go. So if you think you want to spoil Igbo people because of saga, because you're a political jobber, because of the yeye banter, one and the banter each other on the internet, you want to jump on this trend and you want to use the opportunity to paint Igbo people as bad people. All Nigerians are the ones that will suffer it in Ghana. Don't forget, Ghanaians are not Nigerians. If Ghanaians say something that they will do it, they will do it. Nigerians are the only people that will talk to their government. If their government do not listen, they will just let. Once Ghanaians talk to their government and their government is not doing anything about it, Ghanaians will take law into their hands. So those of you pushing it concerning Igbo people, all because of you hate Igbo, or maybe politicians are paying you to do that. By the time the whole thing escalates in Ghana, it will affect you or your family members. So when you get to that level, don't play victim card. Me, myself, I will make video to encourage Ghanaians to attack more Nigerians. This is a matter of talking to Ghanaians that this is not what is happening. This is not the king's intention, but a lot of you are not doing this. You are pushing it. And the worst thing about Nigerians is some of the Igbos are out there debunking what the king said. A lot of people did not support that. A lot of people said they did not know him. He maybe is representing the whole Igbos. Even him claiming as a king in another man's country is not legal. A lot of Igbos have condemned this act. Some few Igbos, we no get sense among Igbos, are out there bragging that Ghana will not do anything. Ghana do anyhow, they will buy them. You know, people start bragging on internet, saying rubbish about Ghana. A lot of you forget that that is their country. You cannot beat up a child and tell him how to cry. And if Ghana tell that they don't want this in their country, you should respect that. And unlike the Igbos debunking the king claim, they say they did not send him. I've seen videos like that. But the few ones among you wey no get sense, where they foil the whole matter, they thought say Igbo go do this, Igbo go buy Ghana. I just pity you now. And most of you doing that thing, you are not living in Ghana. You are just putting the Nigerians living in Ghana into more trouble. You cannot tell Ghanaians how to cry on their problem. Ghanaians don't joke. When they tell you they will do something, they will do it. And I see a lot of you saying, oh, if Ghanaians attack Nigerians in Ghana, you Nigerians will attack Ghanaians in Nigeria. I pity you guys. If Ghanaians say they will attack Nigerians in Ghana, they will do it. But here in Nigeria, our leader will not allow it. Our leader prefer foreigner than us ourselves. Before you know, they will deploy officers to go and guide the foreigner. Why they are unaliving Nigerians in Ghana? Your leaders are here defending them. So before the whole thing get out of hand, Igbos in Ghana, please try to settle the whole thing with Ghanaian people. Because a lot of Nigerians have made Ghanaians to hate you. When the attack comes, it will affect everybody. That is one thing I know. But Igbo people, please try to reconcile with Ghanaians. Ghanaians are good people. I know that. I banter them on this platform for years and I know how good they are. Nigerians and Ghana did not hate themselves. Just some foolish of us that think we hate each other. No, we love each other. Ghanaians and Nigerians are brothers and sisters. I'm not saying this because I'm scared of Ghanaians attacking Nigerians. I'm not in Ghana. But I'm saying this because it's reality. And my Ghanaian brothers and sisters, you misunderstand the king. The king did not say he wants to be a king. I don't know how I'm going to convince you guys. I'm not an Igbo though, but I don't know how I'm going to confuse you guys. Please look into the matter very well before you judge. If you really find this as threat, do something about it. Negotiate with the king, negotiate with your government. Don't let it result violence in your country. We always know Ghana as peaceful country. Don't let this little issue escalate the whole thing and they now start tagging Ghana to be a violence country. Here is the part of the video I see that the king said he's going to welcome everybody. Please don't misunderstand this king. This king is only a head, he's not a king. So foresee the whole Igbo people in Ghana. So watch the video.
Remember that I'm a Nigerian. Igbo is inside Nigeria. Yeah. And every Nigerian, every Igbo man will believe so much in ourselves. As soon as you cross the border, you are not seen like Igbo again, like Yoruba again, like Hausa again, but you see like a Nigerian. So the throne of the diaspora Igbo throne in Ghana, protecting Igbos, defending Nigerians, protecting Nigerians, and all tribes in Nigeria. In extension, also support every.
So Ghanaians, any Nigerian talking nonsense about you, please pardon those people. They don't know what they are saying. It's your country and you have every right to defend your country. But please look into the issue very well. Africa will be great again. Anyway, share your thoughts on the comment section responsibly, and for those that love to cry, cry responsibly on the comment section. Peace.
Yo guys, ninjani. Ngiyaphila. Yazi ngithi ngivula uTikTok ngibona enye into la. Kuyaliwa guys. And manibheka futhi manje kuyaliwa. And kuliwa nabantu abayi1 mawubheka. 1 or 2 or 3 if I'm not mistaken. Ngingena ku TikTok ngithi ngiyabona maybe 2 days or early this week. Ngingena ku TikTok mangithi ngiyafika kulo amaGhana this time nama Nigeria. Guys, mhlambe niyawazi amaGhanaian azange aba kakhulu seyinkingeni or seyinkulumweni zalento lezi ama whatever politics or whatever. AmaGhanaian nama Nigeria most of the time they are together. But this time around kuyaliwa and I'm so happy about this. I'm so happy about this ngoba this time around akusiyi South Africa elwayo. So kusho ukuthini lokhu? Kusho ukuthi bayoze bebone other African countries that they will one day see that we're not really ukuthi asibathandi other African countries. The only thing that we don't like that they do is to ukufika ekhountryini yomuntu and then wenze izinto ngendlela yakho ethanda wena umoshe ikhountry omunye umuntu. Thula ngitshela ukuthi kuliwelane eGhana neNigeria. Kuliwela ukuthini? Apparently this there is a guy who bought 50 hectares of land. 50 hectares, underline 50 hectares of land. Uthenga umhlaba eGhana uthi hayi ngifuna ukwenza mhlambe agriculture izinto kanjalo ngizotshala ngenze ngikhulisa umnotho walapha eGhana and stuff of which kuyenzeka lokho each country to country kuyenzeka makukhona umuntu ezofuna ukunyusa umnotho ezweni. Okay, bamthengisela 50 hectares. Uyazi uGuy wenzeni? Ukhande ipalace yakhe. Uyiking manje kuphi? eGhana. Igbo King eGhana. Ngizokusendela isithombe, ngizofaka ithombe khona la. Uyazi ukuthi kunani? Like njengobona ama Nigerian movies. Njengobona ama Nigerian movies, 50 hectares. Imagine 50 hectares umuntu asuke ekhaya kubo ayothenga the 50 hectares land kwenye country avule ukuthi uwenza ibusiness, no, uwenza kingdomship kwenye country, so uma ucabanga so bakwatileka abantu baseGhana bakwatile, and mina I'm happy about this ukuthi ayike kwangcono this time around. It's not as South African ngoba phela thina kuhlale kuthiwa if usilwela iSouth Africa yethu we are xenophobic. This time around it's not us. So omunye ke manje wase abanye base Africa abazwa the same taste abesinikwa amanye ama-African countries. Because yini kulokukhala ngama Nigeria, each and every African country, wonke umuntu, not even African countries, yonke indawo ngoba Europe bakhala ngama Nigeria, in China, in Dubai bakhala ngama Nigeria. So what is wrong with Nigerians? Bayakhala eGhana bathi nje akwazi ukuthi ningakhanda ilendo le your kingdom here. Niyawazi guys, 50 hectares ungakanani? Uthenge umhlaba 50 hectares just ukuthi ukhande your own palace. Angithi niyabona ukuthi in 20 years or 100 years or whatever years iGhana bazoyiquba phansi ngoba phela kwi 50 hectares kancane kuzofika ama Nigerians afika ahlale they worshiping the other king phela yakwenye country now country yomunye umuntu. So there is other king manje esikhonzwayo kuyo le country. Niyibona into engishoyo? Niyibona into ekhalelwa ama Ghanaians ukuthi akwazi ukwenzeka lokho. Sinawo already amakhosi akhona lapha eGhana. Asikwazi ukuthatha enye inkosi izokhanda la. So if lo muntu lona ke lo this Igbo guy inemali, why ingahamba ngiyovula ubukhosi ba eNigeria? Why kufanele kube eGhana? Why kufanele kube enye country? If enale imali yokwazi ukuthenga umhlaba ongango 50 hectares engezothuthukisa umphakathi waseGhana, uyi-foreigner emhlabeni womuntu, uthenga umhlaba awuzili ukuzothuthukisa abantu baleyo ndawo. Uzokwenzani? Uzosithuthukisa wena, uzosibooster i-ego yakho ngokuthi ube i-king emhlabeni wabanye abantu kwenye i-country. So bungekho umhlaba 50 hectares obungayithenga e-countryni yakho eNigeria ukuthi uzothenga i-50 hectares kwenye i-country uzoba inkosi khona. Angithi niyabona izizukulwane nezizukulwane kancane badonsa babulala abantu base eGhana. Kancane phela. 50 hectares akusiyo umhlaba omncane lo. 50 hectares umhlaba omkhulu kakhulu. I-village leyo. I-village, wenza i-village yakhe kahle. Uzokhothamelwa eGhana. Umuntu wakwenye i-country uzokhothamelwa eGhana. Hayi ukuthi uzosiza abantu be-country, hayi uzosiza abantu bomphakathi. Hayi guys, there is something ama-Nigeria. There is something. Akwazi wonke umuntu a-complaining ngawo. Akukwazi guys. Ake nibuke lento, ngenani ni-check nibone. Kuyaliwa. Abanqaba abantu baseGhana. Ikhandiwe ngizonisendela ama-pictures. Ngizonisendela ama-pictures, nginisendele ne-palace yakhe. Okay guys, bye for now.